So at this stage, hopefully you've got your traced outline of some kind of seafaring vessel, and you're going to have a piece of matte paper. I'm also going to give you an oil pastel. Now, if you're doing this at home and you don't have an oil pastel, you could use a black crayon or some chalk or any kind of material that would kind of smudge on the back of your paper. You'll see what I mean when I do this example. So you take your traced piece of artwork, you flip it over, and you cover the whole back of your drawing with this oil pastel. Now I have to keep flipping it over just to check that I've got all that area covered in black. Let's just see, a little bit more here. So make sure you do a good thick layer. Let's see, or a little bit higher up here. Yep, that looks like. Okay, so make sure we've got plenty on there. Okay, now the next thing you're going to do is place it somewhere on your map. So I'm going to place mine in the middle. Now you might want to tape this down. I'm going to see if this will hold it in place while I trace my ship. Okay, now you might get grubby hands from the oil pastel, but you'll be fine. Okay, so let's put one more bit of tape on there to hold it down. Now the next thing you need is what I call a biro. Okay, so a biro is this kind of pen. You can see it kind of writes with that squidgy ink. A Sharpie is not going to be great for this job, so you want something like a ballpoint biro pen. And we're going to go over all of these lines. You have to press quite hard because if you haven't guessed already, wherever we've put the black oil pastel on the back of this is going to impress onto the matte paper behind. Okay, right, here we go. So as you're tracing over your pirate ship, just be careful to follow the lines as carefully as you can. Now, the good thing about doing it in pencil first is that when you come to draw over the top, your pen lines show up clearly so you can see which bits you've traced and which bits you haven't quite remembered to trace yet. Now, when you're done, you'll get something beautiful like one of these images. So here's what my boat looked like when I traced it onto my map paper. And you'll notice I actually added a compass at the top as well. So if you have time and you'd like to, you could also do the technique of tracing a compass from your iPad, putting the oil pastel behind it, and then using that imprint technique, using oil pastels and adding the compass to your map as well, if you've got room and if you'd like to. Now, painting onto your map paper, the map paper is quite thin, so you don't want to use too much water, but also you still want to be able to see your oil pastel through the paint, so you still need to water down your colours. I'm going to recommend using brown for the boat and then white with maybe a few blue little highlights for the sails on your boat. And then the compass, you can really use any colour you like. You can see I've used shades of red and brown. I'm also dabbing as I go just to take the excess water away, and hopefully when you're done you have a beautiful painted pirate ship on a map background.